Brian. Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Good afternoon. It says, right on the LOtC board. Well, what is that about? Who is he? I'm standing in for the Chief Executive Officer for Council for Learning Outside the Classroom, who actually is on a very well-deserved holiday. So I'm sorry you've got second best, as it were. And I've only been a member of this council since the annual general meeting of it, which was on the 9th of December, and I've only been to one meeting. So why do I know anything about it? Well, my background is as a school teacher for 30-odd years, and I ended up being a head teacher of an 11 to 18 comprehensive school in County Durham for 12 and a half of those years. I've been an Ofsted inspector, and I have a part-time position with the Open University in initial teacher training at the moment. I do actually happen to be chair of the Adventure Activities Industry Advisory Committee, and I'm not trying to bull myself up or blow my own trumpet, other than to say my subject is geography and outdoor pursuits, and therefore, with what I just said, education and safety have been part of my thinking and my life for some time. So there's some justification for being here, if I can best put it like that. Well, my aim, and I'm going to have to use Beth's notes because the presentation is not my own. I'll do my best not to use them as much as I can, but do please forgive me for having to do that. My aim is to explain a little about LOtC, and that's L, big O, little t, and big C on there, to use the acronym because it's quite a mouthful at the end of the day, and the background to the manifesto that accompanies it. Highlight how that manifesto has been developing, and, all being well, to demonstrate the support that is available to yourselves. It's an initiative that hasn't been going very long. It isn't big enough to survive, to be quite truthful with you, as it stands just at the moment. And Andy, in his presentation, was giving us some very good examples, was he not, of learning outside the classroom. You take a child to the curb, to the roadside, etc. It can be that. It can be an awful lot of other things as well. So, how do we define it? The use of places other than the classroom for teaching and learning. Very simple. And if you go back to your own school days, or for that matter those whose children you might have at the moment, their school days, history doesn't take place in a classroom. And we have to go to somewhere called the laboratory in which to do science, at least for some of the lessons. Pythagoras' theorem is all very well, but it's an abstract concept. And if we went out into the playground, we could do something with that and measure this and draw squares on the flanks. And English doesn't really take place in classrooms. Poetry and prose are usually about real-life situations. And technology, at the end of the day, ICT, we're using it in here. I suppose in one sense this is a bit of a classroom, isn't it? But you know what I mean. Learning takes place all over the show. So why don't we engage Ray a little bit more than having a curriculum, which we've got to go through, that tends to be done solely in classrooms. Look, it's about getting children to enjoy what they do and to apply their learning inside the classroom from where they've been, wherever that might happen to be. It's about getting them to apply things, their real-life experiences, what they do on the way to and from school, what they do at home, what they do in their holidays, what they do at the weekends, what have we learned from it. Because at the end of the day, education is about the personal and social development of young people. It's real-life situations, and it's giving them the opportunity to feel, to touch, to see, to experience, and, in a way, to evaluate the world around them. And our initiative, LOtC, is not age prescriptive. It doesn't just go on in primary schools or secondary schools, it goes on in all of them. But yes, it's an education initiative, and safety, very definitely, has a part to play. Well, where does it happen? Just beyond the classroom gates. Classroom doors, I beg your pardon. Elsewhere in the corridor, in the dining room, in the assembly room, or just outside the school buildings, on the field, in the playground. And if you want to go a bit further, Well, down the street, in the shopping centre, we all learn, do we not? And we want to bring those learning opportunities back into what we learn within the classroom. You can, of course, go on extended journeys and further afield on field studies. You can take part, perhaps when you're older, in adventurous activities. You can do the Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme. You can go to the Outward Bound. You can go to the local authority's centre, should it have one, in a remote and inaccessible place. And ultimately, you might want to go on some form of adventure activity abroad. And all of those are within the scope then, as you can see from the list that happens to be on the screen at the moment. We can all infuse learning with new experience and also with adventure. Adventure is definitely part of learning. You learn that from Andy. And whatever you've had this morning, that had not been party to. And young children are as much involved in this as our older ones. No, we don't have a GCSE in adventure activities anymore. Being big-headed, I did write one in 1997 and had it approved, and it lasted 5 years and it got some outstanding results. Well, I would say that, but okay. Look, ideally, LOtC should include a variety of all of these examples, and it's got to be incorporated into the curriculum. If you're going to have anything meaningful that's developmental, it's got to be planned. And therefore, LOtC is trying to get the educators of the world at the moment to understand they have umpteen resources. There is a coordinated initiative to help them, but it's got to actually become part of the curriculum for every child. Yes, everyone. It doesn't matter what background you come from, the slightest. But look, that's where it happens. Why is it a good thing? You remember 1066 and all of that, those of you who are old enough. The Battle of Hastings was a good thing. Oliver Cromwell wasn't such a good thing. Why is this a good thing? Well, look, when children experience the world beyond the classroom, there aren't any doubts about the benefits to young people. They actually attain higher levels of knowledge and skills. They improve their physical health and increase their motor skills, in particular in the primary age range. They socialise. They meet with each other. They talk to each other. Yeah, they bop them on the head now and again, don't they? Because they can't fall out about things. But it's all part of a learning process. Show improved attention, enhance self-concept, self-esteem and mental health, and change their environmental behaviours and their values and their attitudes. Where do you get values and attitudes from? You know, hang on, folks, education is not all about passing exams. Sadly, we've got a bit too far into that culture when we have testing at 5, 7, 11, 14, 16, 18, and if you carry on, to 22. But that's not what it's about. It's education is about learning to live together, to develop into useful citizens, to be able to enjoy things, experience the pleasures of life, and all of that sort of thing in my book. LOtC, in what research we have so far, has been proven to raise attainment and achievement, to improve standards in schools and other establishments, and it also tends to decrease truancy, improve behaviour, and contribute to the emotional